What is up, Wrestling Verse family? Welcome back to the channel, and if you're new here, you picked the absolute perfect time to join us because we are about to break down not one but two massive stories that are shaking WWE to its core right now. Hit that subscribe button and buckle up because this is going to be wild. The bloodline is in chaos. The Usos have imploded, brothers have turned against each other, and Roman Reigns finds himself in unfamiliar territory. He needs to replace his most trusted soldiers. But who could possibly fill that void? Who does the tribal chief turn to when his family has fractured beyond repair? We've got answers, and they're going to shock you. And then, in a completely different but equally mind-blowing development, Alexa Bliss has made her debut with the Wyatt Six. The goddess of WWE has joined the most mysterious, most terrifying faction in the company, and the implications are absolutely massive. We're breaking down both stories, connecting the dots, analyzing what this means for WWE's future, and making some bold predictions about where all of this is headed. But first, demolish that like button, drop your reactions in the comments, and let's dive into these incredible developments. Let's start with Roman Reigns and the bloodline situation because this is a story that has been building for months and has now reached a critical breaking point. The Usos were more than just Roman's cousins or his tag team champions, they were the foundation of the bloodline's power structure. Jay and Jimmy were the enforcers, the loyalists, the ones who carried out Roman's will and protected his interests at all costs. But after Jay betrayed Jimmy at the Battle Royal, everything changed. The trust is broken, the partnership is destroyed, and the Usos as a unit no longer exist. For Roman Reigns, this creates a massive problem. He built his empire on the strength of family loyalty, on the idea that the bloodline was unbreakable because blood is thicker than water. Now that foundation has cracks running through it, and the tribal chief needs to make a move. According to multiple sources and backstage reports, Roman has been holding meetings with various WWE superstars, evaluating potential replacements for the Usos. This isn't just about finding two guys who can win matches. Roman needs people who understand the bloodline philosophy, who respect the hierarchy, and who are willing to acknowledge him as their tribal chief without question. The first name that keeps coming up in these discussions is Tama Tonga. For those who might not know, Tama is also part of the extended Anoa'i family tree, which makes him a natural fit for the bloodline. He's got years of experience as one of the most respected tag team wrestlers in the world from his time in New Japan Pro Wrestling and other promotions. Tama understands what it means to be part of a faction, he knows how to work as a unit, and he's got that aggressive, no-nonsense style that would fit perfectly with Roman's current presentation. But Tama wouldn't come alone. The rumors suggest that if Tama joins the bloodline, he'd bring Tanga Loa with him. These two have been a dominant tag team for years, they have chemistry that you can't teach, and bringing them in as a package deal would give Roman an established, proven team rather than trying to build something from scratch. The good brothers of the bloodline, if you will, ready to handle business and eliminate anyone who challenges the tribal chief's authority. There's also speculation about Jacob Fatu joining the bloodline in a more prominent role. We talked about Jacob in a previous video, but his potential addition becomes even more significant now. Jacob could serve as Roman's personal enforcer, the muscle that strikes fear into anyone who even thinks about stepping to the tribal chief. With the Usos gone, Roman needs someone who can be that physical presence, and Jacob Fatu is absolutely terrifying when he's unleashed. Some fans have suggested that Solo Sikoa could step into a larger role now that the Usos are out of the picture. Solo has been hovering on the edges of the bloodline story, sometimes appearing supportive of Roman, sometimes seeming like he has his own ambitions. With the power structure shifting, this could be Solo's opportunity to become Roman's right-hand man, proving his loyalty and cementing his place as a future leader of the family. The genius of Roman potentially bringing in new members is that it allows WWE to refresh the bloodline without completely abandoning the concept. The tribal chief remains at the head of the table, the philosophy stays the same, but the players change. It's evolution rather than revolution, and it keeps the story moving forward in an exciting direction. But here's where it gets really interesting. What if Roman's new bloodline is even more ruthless than the previous version? The Usos, despite their loyalty to Roman, still had lines they wouldn't cross. They still had moments of conscience, especially Jimmy. These new members might not have those same limitations. They might be willing to do whatever Roman asks without hesitation, creating a more dangerous and unpredictable version of the bloodline. Imagine Roman walking out to the ring with Tama Tonga and Tanga Loa flanking him on one side, Jacob Fatu on the other, and Solo Sikoa clearing the path in front of them. That's an army. That's a force that nobody in WWE could stand against alone. It would require alliances, it would require multiple superstars banding together to have any hope of challenging Roman's dominance, and that creates incredible storytelling opportunities. The visual alone would be powerful. Roman, standing in the center of this new bloodline, acknowledging the WWE universe while his new family enforces his will. The entrance, the presence, the sheer intimidation factor would be off the charts. WWE loves those big faction moments, and this would give them something fresh while maintaining the continuity of the story they've been telling for years. Now let's shift gears completely and talk about the other massive development that has everyone talking: Alexa Bliss joining the Wyatt Six. This is a story that connects to WWE's past while pushing into bold new territory, and the potential here is absolutely unlimited. For those who need context, the Wyatt Six are the spiritual successors to Bray Wyatt's legacy, carrying on the dark, psychological horror elements that made Bray one of the most unique performers in WWE history. The faction has been operating in the shadows, building mystique, creating this atmosphere of dread and uncertainty every time they appear. And now, they've recruited one of the most talented and versatile performers in WWE, Alexa Bliss. Alexa's history with Bray Wyatt and the Fiend character makes this connection feel organic and emotionally resonant. Remember, Alexa underwent a complete transformation during her time with the Fiend. She went from being a confident, trash-talking champion to becoming something darker, more twisted, channeling supernatural elements that we'd never seen from her before. That character work was some of the most compelling content WWE produced during that era. When Bray passed away, Alexa stepped away from that darkness. She returned to a more traditional version of herself, honoring Bray's memory by putting that character to rest. But the Wyatt Six represent something different. They're keeping Bray's legacy alive, continuing his work, spreading his message. For Alexa to join them isn't disrespectful to Bray's memory, it's a way of honoring everything he created and ensuring that his influence continues to shape WWE's landscape. The debut itself was absolutely chilling from what we're hearing. Alexa appeared during a Wyatt Six segment, emerging from the shadows with that familiar twisted smile, her presence immediately elevating the faction's credibility and star power. She didn't say much, she didn't need to, her alignment with the group spoke volumes. The goddess had returned to the darkness, and WWE would never be the same. What makes Alexa such a perfect fit for the Wyatt Six is her ability to blend character work with in-ring excellence. She can be terrifying one moment and then deliver a 5-star match the next. She can cut promos that give you chills, she can tell stories with just her facial expressions and body language, and she brings a level of mainstream recognition that helps legitimize whatever she's involved with. The Wyatt Six now have a female member, which opens up entirely new storytelling possibilities. Alexa can target the women's division, spreading the Wyatt Six influence across both the men's and women's rosters. She can recruit other women to the cause, building a female wing of the faction. She can be involved in mixed tag matches, intergender segments, and storylines that blur the lines between divisions. Think about the potential matchups. Alexa as part of the Wyatt Six versus Bianca Belair. The power and athleticism of the EST against the psychological warfare and dark magic of Alexa Bliss. Or Alexa targeting someone like Rhea Ripley, creating this clash between Ray's raw dominance and Alexa's mind games. Every feud Alexa enters now has this additional layer of mystery and supernatural elements that makes it feel special. The merchandise possibilities alone probably have WWE executives celebrating. Alexa has always been one of the top merchandise sellers in the company, and now you combine that with the cult following that anything Wyatt related generates. The T-shirts, the action figures, the special edition collectibles, this is a goldmine for WWE's bottom line. But beyond the business aspects, this move is about continuing Bray Wyatt's artistic legacy. Bray was never about just winning matches or holding championships, he was about creating art, telling stories that resonated on a deeper level, pushing boundaries and making people feel emotions they didn't expect to feel while watching wrestling. The Wyatt Six carry on that tradition, and Alexa joining them ensures that tradition is honored and elevated. Let's talk about how these two separate stories, Roman's new bloodline and Alexa joining Wyatt 6, could potentially intersect. WWE loves creating these sprawling narratives where different storylines eventually collide, and there are some fascinating ways these paths could cross. Imagine a scenario where the bloodline and the Wyatt 6 end up in conflict. Roman represents power, dominance, family legacy, and control. The Wyatt 6 represent chaos, fear, psychological warfare, and complete unpredictability. Those philosophies are diametrically opposed, which makes them perfect for a collision course. Roman trying to maintain order and control while the Wyatt 6 seek to spread their darkness and chaos throughout WWE could create epic television. You could have Roman's new enforcers, Tama Tonga, Jacob Fatu, whoever ends up in the bloodline, going to war with the male members of the Wyatt 6 while Alexa targets someone in Roman's orbit, maybe someone in a position of power or influence. Multi-man matches, faction warfare, segments that span multiple weeks building to a massive payoff at a premium live event. There's also the possibility that these stories stay completely separate, which is fine too. WWE has a large enough roster and enough television time to tell multiple compelling stories simultaneously. The bloodline can dominate one part of the show while the Wyatt 6 haunt another part, and both storylines can thrive without needing to intersect. The key is that WWE now has two strong faction stories with clear identities and compelling characters. The bloodline represents the old guard, family legacy, and traditional power structures. The Wyatt 6 represent the outsiders, the artists, the ones who operate by different rules entirely. That diversity in storytelling approaches is what keeps WWE programming fresh and interesting. From a booking perspective, both stories give WWE flexibility and options. Need a main event for a premium live event? Roman Reigns and his new bloodline can deliver. Need a segment that gets people talking on social media and generates buzz? The Wyatt 6 with Alexa Bliss can provide that. Need to build up younger talent? Have them interact with either faction and they instantly feel more important. The ripple effects throughout the roster are significant too. Every superstar now has to consider, do I align myself with the bloodline? Do I stand against them? Do I join the Wyatt 6? Do I fight against their darkness? These aren't just questions for the people directly involved. These are questions that affect everyone because factions this powerful touch every part of WWE's ecosystem. Let's also discuss the potential for surprise returns or debuts connected to these stories. Roman recruiting new bloodline members could bring in talent from outside WWE or bring back wrestlers who have been away for a while. The Wyatt 6 could recruit established stars looking for a character refresh or could introduce entirely new faces from the independent scene or WWE's developmental system. The speculation alone generates so much conversation and engagement. Fans love trying to predict who's joining which faction, debating whether certain wrestlers fit the philosophy of the bloodline or the Wyatt 6, creating fantasy booking scenarios in their heads and on social media. That engagement is gold for WWE because it means people are invested, they're thinking about the product even when they're not watching it. What about the championship implications? If Roman has a new, stronger bloodline, does he make another run at the WWE Championship? Does he try to reclaim the universal dominance he once had? And if the Wyatt 6 start targeting champions, does Alexa eventually go after the Women's Championship with the full support of her faction behind her? Championships always elevate storylines because they add tangible stakes to the conflicts. We should also consider how this affects the wrestlers who aren't part of these factions. There's something to be said for the wrestlers who stand alone, who refuse to join groups, who face these factions as individuals. Those underdog stories can be just as compelling as the faction warfare itself. Someone like Cody Rhodes standing against the bloodline alone has built-in drama. Someone like Bianca Belair refusing to be intimidated by the Wyatt 6, Mind Games showcases her character. The long-term storytelling potential is what really excites me about both these developments. These aren't short-term angles designed to fill a few weeks of programming. These are foundation-level stories that can drive WWE's narrative for months or even years. The bloodline has already proven it can sustain interest over a long period, and the Wyatt 6 with Alexa Bliss now involved has that same potential. And that's where we are right now, wrestling vs. family. Roman Reigns is rebuilding the bloodline with potentially even more dangerous members after the Usos breakup, creating a new era of dominance for the tribal chief. Meanwhile, Alexa Bliss has shocked the world by joining the Wyatt Six, honoring Bray Wyatt's legacy while pushing that story into exciting new territory. WWE is cooking with both these storylines, and we're all here for it. What do you think? Who should join Roman's new bloodline? Are you excited about Alexa Bliss with the Wyatt Six? Could these two factions eventually go to war with each other? Drop all your thoughts, theories, and predictions in the comments below. I love reading what you all think about these stories. If you enjoyed this breakdown of two of the biggest developments in WWE right now, go ahead and smash that like button. Subscribe to Wrestlingverse and hit the notification bell because we're going to be covering every twist and turn of both these stories as they develop. You do not want to miss a single update. Thank you so much for watching, Wrestlingverse family. These are the kinds of stories that make wrestling appointment television, and I'm thrilled to be experiencing them with all of you. Until next time, stay locked into the channel, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace out.